Servant accidentally caught a glimpse of the mistress's exposed chest. Instinctively, he rubbed his eyes to ease the awkwardness. But the master, Jack, noticed the gesture and asked what he had just seen. David quickly made up a story, saying he had passed by a sacred tree and was showing respect. The couple, who had just returned from the United States, really believed him and imitated David's gesture of paying respect to an ordinary tree on the roadside. He managed to completely fool the two of them. After dropping them off at their destination, David drove the master's car back home. As he passed the village entrance, he honked repeatedly to attract everyone's attention. He wanted to return home in style, like someone who suddenly struck it rich. With everyone watching, he swaggered his way home, but his grandmother scolded him for not sending any money back for months. When David took out cash, her attitude changed instantly. She even made him a rare chicken dinner. Perhaps David's prolonged absence from home made Grandma feel that he was out of her control. In order to completely tie David to make money for him, he has already found a good wife for him, so that the two of them can get married after a while. But David knew that once he got married, he would lose his chance to escape the cage and end up like his father. He immediately made it clear that he would neither get married nor send money home again. He also urged his brother to escape their grandmother's control, since all she cared about was how much money her descendants could make. She didn't care if they lived or died, even though David was loyal to Jack and his wife. One day, the usually gentle Mistress Ellie lost her temper in front of guests, because his uniform was covered with grease and dust, and his hands often scratched his private parts, and David's mouth smelled bad all day long, and his teeth were covered with yellow stains. When David brought her some coffee, Ellie made him pour it out without taking a sip. Afterward, he looked at his reflection in a plate and saw his yellow teeth. He smelled the stench from deep inside himself and resolved to make a change. Later, David went out and bought toothpaste and a decent set of clothes for himself. He tried to break lifelong bad habits. Back home, David began brushing his teeth furiously in front of the mirror. No matter how hard he scrubbed until his mouth was raw, the stains wouldn't come off. Just like his lowly status, it couldn't be changed. From then on, David became even more devoted to Jack and Ellie, completely ignoring the divide between master and servant. That night, Jack and Ellie stayed out late partying at a bar, perhaps seeking some thrill. Ellie kicked David out of the car and took the driver's seat herself. As a servant, David didn't dare refuse and let them fool around. Both of them were clearly tipsy, and Ellie drove faster and faster. David began to feel uneasy, but since it was already 2 a.m., he didn't think much of it. Yet in the next second,